budget that you have. Like I say, I'm out here, man, to make money. I got goals. Obviously, this truck is a tool that I use to make money. As it take me to point A to point B. We're at a decent place to sleep. Doesn't give me a lot of headaches. Like I say, I checked the truck very, very. I know they put a new turbo on it. Got a new transmission from the dealer, from International. I seen the paperwork. So they did a lot of things to it. And, the original parts, because this truck was a prime truck. And, I don't know how Prime take care of the trucks. Probably you guys know more than me, but we were working over there. But I can tell you guys, this guy is in great condition. I'll be driving from Tampa all the way up here. I'm in Nashville right now. Obviously going to the big West. That's where I live. So far so good. No complaints. One thing I noticed, to me, it seems like I got more space inside the truck than the Freightliner that I had, the 2025 Freightliner, this case that I had. It seems like this great. Uh, I tried doing my own bookings, and then I went to, I think it's called a selective account, or, where they got those, like, I don't know, it's not Frito Lay, it's Campbell Snacks. And, they also give you burritos, they dispatch you. And, I had a cool guy, a cool dispatcher, he was doing his best, he told me straight up, if I don't make money, if you don't make money, I don't make money, man. So, I'm trying to make you money, but I'm trying hard, man. And I know he was trying hard, but that wasn't good enough for me because I wasn't making the money that I wanted. And, I wasn't making the money that I wanted, and I wasn't looking at just a guy. He knew my line was empty, and it's like a half a mile away. I got my signal light going to the lane, and he's speeding, and literally trying to block me from coming out of the lane. But that's what it is. People, they don't have no respect. Not much respect, but at least courtesy. It is what it is. You drop it at least. But yeah, like I say, that afterward, it didn't work out for me at the time. I'm not saying the future, things might change, this market might get better. You get a lot of freedom there, but honestly, I worked back in the days with JB Hunt, that company private. For me, JB Hunt always was a good spirit. I started with Snyder. My training, I did teams like for a year. Then I trained people there. The money in Snyder wasn't good for me as a company, right? But honestly, to be fair to Snyder, most of the companies, when you've been in the game, they don't pay you that much. But then I moved to JB, where I was going every day. And I was doing great, man. I was making like $2,000 a week gross, as a company, right? Then, I was in Massachusetts. I used to work in Brattleboro, Vermont. Because I had a house right there in Greenville, Massachusetts. Not Greenville, Charlemont, in the mountains. And it was like 40-minute drive to me. I had a great manager, the manager that camped. She was great. All the dispatchers, it was great. So my experience with JB Hunt, man, it's been amazing. And now, as an owner operator with JB Hunt, and I'm being blessed, man. Big up to the 18. I don't know what that means, but I guess it means something good, right? Being the 18. I got split bird. Not too many people, but JB Hunt got split bird. You split you sleep bird. Obviously, cars to be sold. I mean, they do sell them, but they be, you know, charging the shit out of American companies. And it's the truth, man. That's very real. I understand, man. The only manufacturing over there, the labor is very cheap. If you make it here, everything's gonna be more expensive. I get it, but hey, you know, I truly believe this nation is the greatest nation on earth. That's my opinion. And obviously, that's why you see a lot of people coming to this country. Even people that hate the country, you know, they live here. So I'll tell you something. You know, I'm not gonna get into that politics part of it. I mean, I'll be honest. I'm very against. You know, people that don't have a license driving trucks with an international license. And if I pay my way to get my license, everybody, that's how I feel. Everybody got to do it too. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, that's my opinion. But like I said, man, I got a family, Mexican family, you know, I'm Puerto Rican, you know, my USA citizen. You know, my whole family, my son, in the Navy, you know what I mean? But like I said, I got a lot of immigrants related, you know, friends and good people. And, you know, it's a very
Flash flood warning in 50 miles.
shaky subject, the immigration situation. As far as truck driving, man, I believe if I have to pay my license or go to school and, you know, take a test, I believe everybody that's driving you know, truck should do the same thing. That should not be able to come from, you know, let's say, I'm not big against any country, but it's just for example, Serbia. If you come to the United States and they give you a license, and you probably never know I got that truck in life. It's not fair. But that's not what this business is going on. Like I said, you know, I'm a very positive person, man. I really, you know, see somebody succeeding, I'm happy with it, I made it. But like I said, man, you see people succeeding out here, and that should give you motivation. And it should tell you, hey, they're doing it. I definitely can do it. I definitely can do it too. And, you know, that's something that, you know, I've never had nothing handed in a plate to me. You know, I was struggling when I was little, when I was a kid. And, you know, you have to go and get it, you know. You have to work. That's what we have to do, you know. So, you know, that all those times when I was a kid, that's why got me to be the hustler that I am. You know, people that know me, they know that I did a lot of things in my life. I have other companies. I'm not gonna talk about them because there's no sense. You know, you see Green Knight David. And, you know, you say, wow, why you a truck driver? Everything have a season, you know. Sometimes you just gotta move on something else. And, you know, like I said, man, don't let nobody tell you you cannot do it, man. Believe in yourself. And, you know, if you want to be a trucker, man, I advise you guys, you got your license, go to Snyder, man. I recommend Snyder 100%. As far as, you know, they pay you to get the license, they give you a tow, you know, they give you the training. You know, obviously, once you pass the You know, so there's a lot of opportunities out there, man. And you know, like I say, I was on hold for a while, for a long time, becoming an owner operator. You know, I feel comfortable being a company driver, but when you always be your own boss in life, and you know you have your own business, I think that's you don't feel comfortable working for somebody. You know, and that was my situation. I said, I wanted to work. Even though right now, you know, I pull those for JB Hunt, and they obviously got the rules and stuff like that. But you know, when I want to work, I take the loads that I want. I go wherever I want to go. And you know, that worked for me. They got the freight. They got freight. Because it paid great. Honestly, man, it's a hit or miss. But I'll be honest, it's a lot of bullshit loads, man. They don't pay that much. But, you know, for everybody. You know, you might have things that you want, and I might have things, you know, that I don't need, so I don't have to. It just all depends. Depends how you want. If you safe, if you, like I said, man, this truck, obviously I'm not taking it, but I'm in 10.6 miles per gallon. I'll be honest, never in the 2025 Ford Lightning Cascadia bobtailing that I ever hit 10.5. You know, I hit 9.9, 9.8, never. And that was just in my experience. You know, I'm not saying people that got Ford Lightning Cascadias out there, you know, they do that. Like I said, I'm bobtailing. I don't run on the road. I don't run on train. But I'm impressed so far on that with this truck. Like I said, he got his pros and cons, you know. But like I said, man, I'm happy. That's what matters. You got things that you be happy with, and you know, whatever works for you. Like I say, people will say, oh, you should have got a friend line, you should have got a pyramid, I should have got a mansion. I should have, you know, there's a lot of shooters that you know, but you know, like I said, you gotta work with your budget, you gotta work with the, you know, I'm not out here to impress nobody. Be there, done that. Doesn't make sense to me. And you know, that's how I'm out here to make money. And you know, time is money, and time is the most expensive thing in life. That's the only thing you cannot stop. You will never stop time. Time moves, and that's something you will never get back. So, you know, we out here, we gotta appreciate, you know, life and use time wisely. Because that's the most valuable thing in your life, time. You know, we're not here to just waste time and you know, throw it out there. That's the most valuable thing. You have money today, you could be broke. But like, yeah, you got time, you can make it better. You have money, if you don't got time, you're dead. You're done. You're in a cemetery somewhere, man. So, what good is money if you don't got time? So, you know, time is the most valuable thing in life. You know, of course, family, you know, kids. I mean, God, you know, for me, God is number one in my life. You know, I mean, I'm not going to believe it. I'm grateful to God every day. I wake up, every day I breathe, every day man, I'm out here seeing the things that God wants, see nature. Shit. You know, how perfect it is, man. You know, how perfect is nature, and how perfect is the human being. I mean, God is amazing. But anyways, I'm gonna cut this video short now. It's pretty long, 45 minutes, 36 minutes. Just out here, man, driving, going home. We can talking right now. Yes, this area got pretty hit bad. With the rain, I'm not sure if situation for me. If I want to sit for a month,